Hi, we have our very first podcast for ASMC. With me, I have Tom Devine. He currently sits with the 75th Commission, helping with the ASMC Jubilee, as well as the sits on the subcommittee for education. And with that, Tom, on his day job, is a product director for Management Concept. Tom, thank you for joining today. And we'll start out with tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jayme, for having this and setting up our first podcast. This is very exciting for us. So yeah, my name's Tom Devine. I'm a retired U.S. Army finance officer, 28 years. Very proud to say I'm in the Financial Management Corps, and presently I am the Financial Management Product Director for Management Concepts and developed their training in the financial management world. And with that too, I also Jayme said, on the 75th Commission, and that's what brings us here today, is looking to have podcasts set up that talks and celebrates the great attributes and benefits of being a member of ASMC, and I've been a long-standing member since the late 90s, part of the National Guard chapter. I've maintained that. And just very excited to have the opportunity to talk with you today, Jayme. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom, for your service. And the first question that I have is, what are some of the benefits of joining ASMC?
Yeah. So, for me, is the networking and connections. It started from the very beginning. National Guard chapter had their PDIs out at DFAS. Indianapolis, and it was that opportunity to come together as a community with not just accountants, budget officers, people in the in the vendor pay sections. Everybody came together, and we were able to sit in the same rooms, hear from leaders in the financial management community, sharing what was happening today, but also what was going to be happening in the future. And not everybody was able to attend those, so you go back and be able to share those ideas. Also receive some of the latest training on new systems, or back then the joint travel regulation was being updated on a consistent basis, and so receiving that latest information was beneficial. That was in the beginning, of my time with ASMC, and then, of course, I started getting involved in the chapter events themselves, being part of the committees that brought the speakers together. Ended up being a Masters of Ceremonies on 2 of our National Guard PDIs in the late 2000s. So just always engaged, and realized that it was just a benefit beyond attending the event. It was that networking, the connections, the ability to communicate with others. But then, ASMC themselves in 2000, brought on the Certified Defense Financial Management Certificate. And that just gave this, this credential in the community that, made excitement. And, people, myself receiving that in 2003 and maintaining my certification, it just brought great value, kind of pride to it. And that was through, the leadership in ASMC. And still drawing people to achieve that certification. It's that bond and connection that ASMC has, both at the chapter and then the national level. Having attended some national PDIs through my career, you build long-term relationships, even though there's great distances maybe spreading amongst that. In today's world, we're able to stay connected. And I think that's, one of the tremendous values that I see.
No, I appreciate your insights on that. I know if it wasn't for me brought into, one of those 100 chapters that we discussed prior to this start of this podcast, I may have never joined the FM community in the first place. So to me, it was great because individuals kind of wrap their arms around you, and you can lean on them for questions and recommendations and things like that. So I think there's great value in that. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
My next question is, being a long-standing member and taking on numerous leadership roles in the ASMC community, what are some of the things that leaders can do today in order to remain relevant and also being able to give back to their FM community?
Yeah. So I think one of the most important things for the FM leaders is to continue to listen uh, to those in the FM community to make sure that they're aware of kind of the gaps and issues that are happening. And to be quite candid, I see that. I see that in the OSD Comptroller, FM strategy, along with all the components. Workforce is up there. Both training, development, retention, recruiting of that. You see a lot of that correlation with ASMC in that ability to create that connection and networking. So, for FM leaders today, they're really developing the FM leaders for tomorrow. And a lot of those people are part of ASMC. And so today's leaders, if they're doing the listening and they're showing the outcome of their listening through, developing, either, training solutions or system solutions to the problems, tomorrow's leaders are going to be doing the same thing. And I think that's what's going to make, that's what's made the last 75 years for ASMC so successful to the FM community. And I think that's something else in the next 75 years that ASMC will hold its head high and be one of those thought leaders for the future.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today. And is there any last comments before we end this podcast?
Yeah, you mentioned about the 100 chapters, and for future podcasts, we'd love to be able to have people from some of those chapters reach out and join us in the conversation that we're about to have for the next year about the 75th. We are going to, have a couple of the podcasts that will follow some of the themes coming up. The Comptroller of the Future, the PPBE, these are all important topics, and we're going to talk about, the innovation in the future happening in the comptroller world. So, but besides that, we'd love to get individuals to join us in future podcasts and share their story on why ASMC is so important to them. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. We need to hear from the junior members out there because they are the future of this organization. And without them, we can't continue to do what we've been doing. So thank you, Tom.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jayme.